interviewing the developer of CrowSworn. And so I saw this game a little while ago. I've been getting pinged left and right on Twitter. People are saying, "Hey, check out this game. There's a Kickstarter. There's a trailer out. You got to check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out." So I finally did, and it looks good. It's super interesting. So I reach out to the developer. Aleks is here with me, and he's gonna introduce himself, and then he's gonna tell us a little bit about CrowSworn. So hey, Aleks, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Hello, everybody, I guess. I did see a comment up there somewhere that said that you thought I had a deep voice. I don't know if that's true. I was going to come with a girly voice, but I forgot.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, so I guess I'm like basically the creative direction slash decision making slash pseudocode slash animation, I guess, for CrowSworn, and basically doing that kind of stuff. The game is not inspired by Hollow Knight at all in any way, shape, or form.
Just throwing out
purely Bloodborne and Devil May Cry, and that's it. Just those two games, nothing else.
nothing. You've never seen Hollow Knight, right?
What's Hollow Knight?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
I don't know. No, of course, we're huge fans. Sorry, Leth. I don't know if that was the right thing to do, but anyways. Yeah, so it's a game basically inspired by those three sets. I guess, like, if I had to lump sum it, I'd say the art is inspired by Hollow Knight. The gameplay is probably heavier on the Devil May Cry and a mix of the Bloodborne, and then obviously some of the elements are also there from Hollow Knight, but the world is probably more like, I'd say, like 80% Bloodborne style, and other than that, it's just like a Metroidvania where we're hoping to focus on quality, and that's pretty much it, I guess.
Dude, I'm super hyped. I want to, thank everyone who's here. Normally, I kind of read off everybody from chat, but we're going to kind of be a little bit more focused today, and I'm going to be we're going to be talking, we're going to be doing our thing. We'll probably pull in some questions from chat here and there. But let's, I kind of want to show you guys. I'm going to pull up the video, so in that way you can copy strike this later, and you can get all of the revenue from the live stream. That's my gift to you. Hopefully this isn't crazy loud. Let's see. So this is CrowSworn. So I always forget what these guys are called with the beaks. Crow shaman? Crow?
Birds?
No. Sorry, one second. I gotta watch it. I'm That upgrade tree looks super interesting too. I gotta ask you about that. CrowSworn. Alright, so if anybody didn't see the trailer, there you go. There's the trailer. But what are they called? You know there's those people in the Plague Doctor. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, that's obviously essentially he's a plague doctor, right?
Yeah, he's something
like
something.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So whatchamacallit? So I know you so we already kind of talked about the inspirations for the game. And so I want to jump on the small monkey in the room with that. There's some people, and I looked it up. I tried looking up. Fireborn made a video saying that there were people who have said that this game looks too much like Hollow Knight or whatever. There was a couple of comments out there that said it. I didn't think it was a ton of people. But what do you think? What if somebody says it looks too much like Hollow Knight or it looks too much like whatever? I don't know. What are your initial thoughts on that?
I mean, I guess I'd just say, like, I don't know how you would quantify two, I suppose. If you say it looks like Hollow Knight, I would never dispute that. Not to sound like a nerd or something, but the Hollow Knight artistic direction decision from, like, as a route was completely, like, utilitarian when it was selected, just because of Oh man, it's gonna be like a deep dive into it, but like it is a very, it's by no means like an easy art style to create, but it's a very easy art style to use because of just the way that like constant weight like lines lend themselves to it, so you can kind of like replicate things easily and implement them in the game, so it just like speeds up development time, and something that caught my eye with it. But sorry, I'm digressing a little bit. The point I was trying to, the idea is like, I don't know how you'd value it too much, I guess, because a lot of people are super stoked about the idea that it looks so much like Hollow Knight, and then some people are like, oh my god, you're like ripping this off and it's lazy. The part where they say it's lazy is the part where I'm like, man, guys, like there's many art styles that are much easier to replicate than the Hollow Knight art style. I don't think the word lazy is like the appropriate qualifier, because it is actually like a very time consuming art style to use.
For sure.
And yeah.
Interesting. So that's one thing. So we actually talked before the stream a little bit about this. So you're saying, so art is actually one of the things that you're saying takes up the biggest chunk. I don't know about the biggest chunk. Trying to think of how I want to phase this question. When it comes to developing a video game, I don't know enough about it. Like what are like the biggest chunks or baskets when it comes to developing a video game? Like what are the things that are difficult, and also what do you think your team is good at with those baskets?
So I'd say like code. If you're like going to do Metroidvania, code is like reasonably like a linear scale between all, I'd say, Metroidvania projects kind of thing. Like it's just like one Metroidvania isn't necessarily like that much bigger with code than the other ones. They're all roughly same ballpark. Whereas like art is, there's a huge space that kind of fills. Like, so for example, something like I don't know if you guys heard of the game like Gato Roboto, which is like basically 2-bit like pixel art. That would be like very low time consumption in terms of art department. So like the code is definitely the thing that runs the show there. Whereas something like Hollow Knight, the art is definitely the most time consuming component of it, and the code base is like probably comparable to like Gato Roboto.
So essentially once you get the code nailed down, then it's just kind of like slapping art over top of the stuff that you've already created.
Usually if you do your engine right, because then it scales up. Like sure, as you get more enemies, there's like more AI and stuff, but usually you can repurpose AI from other like enemies into it. I'm sure, more than sure, like a bunch of enemies in Hollow Knight share the same AI system between them. So code like scales reasonably well, but art and like content like that, assets, not so much. Like yeah. Interesting.
Okay. So along the same lines, I don't know why I said along the same lines. It has nothing to do with that. I was gonna say, so the trailer, when I look at the trailer, like it looks like it looks like you're pretty far along. Like I don't know how to judge how far along a game is based on a trailer. Like I look at it, it looks clean. Characters moving around, there's enemies jumping around, you see things, but I don't know how much of it is like, hey, this is just the base level of things that we've completed, and that's it. Like it's hard to tell if like you've completed or you've made like large areas of the game or just a couple of areas. I don't know I guess the question is like kind of how far along are you already before you've even, I don't know.
I think how far along is probably like a tough question to answer.
Yeah,
I'd say
fair enough.
An easier question to answer would be like how much longer till it's released, because
people want to know that.
Yeah, because I think issue with asking a question like how far along is it is like, if you ask like how far along is our content, I'd be like, well, maybe 5%. If you ask me how much of like that initial like melding ideas and figuring out where things are going and how to assemble it and the reiterating process is done, then I'd say, maybe we're 50% through development. But there's a good chunk of period in the beginning where like nothing really happens, and you're just kind of like messing with things sort of until something sticks.
Raj.
So that's what I would say. In terms of content, I'd say we're like 5% of the way, if you really must know.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, I don't know, because I was looking at the trailer. I'm like, wow, they're going to be doing a Kickstarter, but it looks like it's so far along. Like how, I don't know. Obviously, I mean, I also thought Hollow Knight Silksong was much further along after the Nintendo E3 event in 2019, and they said coming soon. They got us good on that one, chat. They got us all good. They said coming soon, and we believed. It's hard not to.
Did you guys dirty? Did you dirty?
They got us good. Somebody, my brother in chat was actually saying you can't trust trailers after Cyberpunk 2077.
That's funny. And you gotta answer that question, which will drop first? Absolutely, Silksong. If I had to bet, there's no way we're gonna get it out before. So I'll just put it out there.
There you go. So along the timelines, so the next thing that's gonna happen is there's gonna be a Kickstarter, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So what? Let's start with that. How far out until the Kickstarter starts?
2 months, I think, is what we're aiming at. We're waiting on like some secret sauce for the. Like, I don't want to say what it is, but like there's secret sauce for the actual trailer.
Fair enough.
So should be cool. I think. I hope. But yeah.
Got it. And so I did add links in the description. If anybody wants to check that out, you can like, what is it? You can like save it for later or set a reminder for whenever that does go live, because it's going to be hard to remember 2 months from now. Although, I don't know, we'll probably take a look at the game. And do you think you're going to do a demo?
Probably not, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like we'll have it as a backer kind of thing, but like I don't think it's just like it's difficult to like lend itself to a demo like that. Like I think it's in the same vein of like I don't think Hollow Knight would have been good to like do a demo, just because it's kind of like how do you show a bit of the lore and get people in it? You just kind of want them to experience the whole thing at once, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, but there will be like a backer tier or whatever, so some people, like a finite number of people, that way you don't like blow it to everyone, will get access to some kind of early development stuff.
Good stuff. And so along the lines of the Kickstarter, let's see, what did I write down? Kickstarter goals, stretch goals, rewards. Do you already have kind of an idea for that kind of stuff? Are you still looking for things to add into stretch goals, or whether or not they're stretch goals for the game, but also rewards for backers? Because those are two different things. Stretch goals and rewards for backers.
Yeah, so stretch goals we're kind of like sort of been thinking about more now that we've kind of seen how much interest there is. We're kind of having to sort of restructure what we originally planned, I guess. Like we definitely have the console stretch goals, and I think we'll be able to hit all those like for the porting stuff, but then there's a bunch of, I guess, like, you know, other things like DLC kind of content, expanding areas, things like that, all sort of been planned. In terms of CrowSworn cart needs to be a thing now, eh? Okay.
Cart? Okay. What's a cart?
I hear you. I hear you, Fedoras. And in terms of like reward tiers, I don't know, man. It really depends what Leth can get for us. That's really what it comes down to. So if you guys have, you know, like things, go talk to Leth.
The chat might not know what you're talking about. What's Leth have to do with this?
Oh, Leth?
Yeah.
He's the PR marketing guy working with us right now, and he's got all the hookups for all the cool stuff. That's
right. So if you guys don't know, Leth, who was the marketing PR director for Hollow Knight and Silksong, he's going to be working with CrowSworn. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah, we were excited. It was surreal for us, man. Oh, that was the thing. I just got to drop that. That was like I was bragging to all my buddies on Discord when like Leth changed his like Twitter profile thingy to like put Hornet beside our Crow guy. That was like
right.
Surreal.
That's awesome.
Nuts.
How did that even come about? Was that something you reached out to him? Was he saw stuff about the game? He reached out to you guys. Like, how did that come about?
So actually it was like weird because so what happened is like when Mossbag did the, I don't know, he didn't retweet. I guess he retweeted and like whatever the term is when you like quote retweet,
yeah.
I guess, and said something about our video when we launched it, and then Leth made a comment like something like needs more saws or something, and I was like, I noticed it, and I'm like, and then I was like, oh, who's this guy? And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's like the PR guy from like Hollow Knight. I'm like, wait a minute, this guy follows us, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll follow him back. And then he eventually messaged us, and it was like wild because the message he sent was unlike anything that publishers send. It was like, there's publishers somehow in the chat, I apologize. It was a human who actually like cared about stuff, so that was like very refreshing. And then yeah, we just kind of got into chat and started like vibing, and yeah, and that was like one thing to another, and then, you know, like I asked Leth to marry me, and we did it. So I don't know, man, that was it.
Put a ring on it. There you go.
Yeah, put a ring on it,
man. Somebody's asking, what's the Crows guy's name? Are you allowed to share the main character's name?
No.
Fair enough.
I prefer not to.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, anything that's lore or whatever, feel free to hold back. Only a little bit though. Unless I demand it, and then, you know.
Unless you demand it, yeah. Well, we have a rule. I told Leth ahead of time. I'm like, if things get spicy, we got like the WWE tag rule. I'm just gonna tag him in, and we'll swap. So yeah,
bring him, bring it on.
Yeah.
Just he's in chat. We can always just bring him into a call.
Yeah.
Let's see. So once a Kickstarter is over, I guess it kind of depends. We kind of talked about it a little bit. Do you have a rough idea of how long it will take to complete once you have backing, and would it also change how long it takes based on hitting stretch goals?
So like hitting stretch goals, I guess, will inflate the content of the project, I would guess, imagine, and like just probably, doing kind of like whatever DLC stuff, I guess, and other bits and enemies or bosses or whatever. It also depends on like how many backer tiers get. Like, if I was gonna say we are gonna have like boss design tiers and stuff, so depending on how many of those are filled, what these bosses are like, obviously those things will change it. But I mean long story short, I guess our kind of like motto is really, and so far I've been pushing with the whole team, is like I don't want to compromise on quality at all, so it's basically like until it's ready. But the idea still is I'd say 2+ years after the Kickstarter.
Got it. All right, there you go, chat. Some people were asking, when's it coming out? Also, Calamity, thank you so much for the $2 super chat, my friend. Let's see. We can, depending on how deep you want to get on this. My next question is, who are you? Where are you from? So kind of like, it sounds like there's a little bit of a team. So it sounds like you're not doing a solo dev thing. I guess I would be more interested in that.
You thought somebody was doing this solo dev?
I don't know, man. Shoot.
I'm like, man, you kidding me?
I all I saw was a trailer, and I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know.
Christ. Yeah.
Okay. How big's the team?
Well, the team is, I guess, right now, reasonably small. We have basically an audio team. We have, which is like larger probably than most have it, just because like we're working with a studio that does the audio stuff, and it's the people that did audio for like Rogue Legacy, Untitled Goose Game and stuff. They're also like based out of Canada, Shell in the Pit. So they've kind of got like the whole structure of, we've got a producer associated with it, an audio director, the sound designer, the like implementation guy, and it's just like a large chain. I don't know if you necessarily need that many. We've got a composer. We've got a guy that does the environmental like art. That's not me. I do the like animation / like enemy design / whatever, and then we got my basically like other half business partner who does the coding and that side of things, and then we've got Leth now, I guess, who's our PR marketing / friend.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's super exciting. Okay, so it's definitely bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
It's super cool. And then also Fireborn's here, and we got you were saying earlier we got a bunch of different people from different like game developers and stuff. Rusty is here, Leth is here, so many people. I just want to thank you guys all for being here. Super exciting. I feel like I should have some music or something on in the background, really set the mood. But yeah, So also, I know some people are curious. What other games have you worked on in the past? And I'm sure it sounds like the team's big, so it would probably take a little while to be like what everybody has done. And let me get this straight. Has this team ever put out anything before? And then also, what have you worked on in the past?
This team as is no, although like I got into the game dev thing with the guy who's like my other half business partner right now, who's also Alex. Um, and this team as it is, yeah, I haven't released anything like with this team, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, yeah, and what we've worked on before, I guess. Yeah, I think I don't know if it's worth like just bringing it. I don't know if this video's worth it or not, but like I guess the long story short is same guy who I'm with, other Alex. We both studied engineering in school, so we did civil engineering, and then we both like specialized in certain stuff. I did like bridges, got a master's in that. He did like seismic. We did that for half a year to a year after, and we're just like, oh man, this isn't what we thought it'd be. So at that time, kind of like games on Kickstarter were popping off, and we were just like, oh man, we could probably learn how to make games, do it. But we went with the pitfall of trying to make an MMO, RPG, TCG, and we kind of got further than most, I would say, with that. Probably sunk in like $30,000 or $40,000 of our money, which went to nothing except for a very good education of learning game dev fast.
Ooh.
Um, it wasn't that bad. I don't regret it at all. And then after that, he decided to like work with an indie studio doing programming there, and I decided to kind of just like try and do my own thing. So I started working on a game called Runic at the time, which was like pixel art Castlevania, but then
Okay.
I didn't know how to do art, animation. I didn't know what a sprite was when I started. Like the word sprite didn't mean anything to me.
No
Code, I was just
way.
yeah, no jokes, man. I was like, what the hell's a sprite? Like I didn't know anything, man. I just went in and
How
probably
long
spent
ago
like
was that?
six. That was oh man, I'm gonna throw. I might be lying here, but
It's
it's
okay.
probably like 7 years ago, I'd say. -ish. No, wait, no, because I released Unworthy, so it's probably like 5 to 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 to 6 years ago, I'd say.
It's crazy how much you
Um,
can learn once you throw yourself in, huh?
well, it also, I mean, it's like when you got a fire under your rear end to like try and make something after you quit a job that you spent like 7 years in academia to get to. It's yeah, you kind of got to do it, or you know what I mean.
Heard that.
Yeah, so that was kind of the thing there, and then yeah, since dropped Runic due to like same issues, kind of like too big for what I knew. Although it looked better than I think Unworthy, but then I ended up doing Unworthy after that, which was basically my decision was to um, strip it of color and just focus on animation and programming, just to kind of like not overload my brain with other stuff. So I did that whole thing mostly on my own, except for the sounds department. Um, and yeah,
Dang.
and that was it. And then after that, we kind of got back together with the same guy. He left the company he was working for, and we started working on CrowSworn. How large are you wanting the upgrade tree to be in the final game? What all would it customize? How large would you want the upgrade? How would you answer that question? Um, I don't think it's a spoiler. Can I answer that question by the way?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so
Don't
like our
answer
upgrade
any
tree.
questions unless I say so. Yeah,
No,
please.
so our upgrade tree is kind of like different than I guess stuff that we've seen before. It works with the idea that you've got it's a constellation, and you've got like small stars, medium stars, and large stars, and they kind of like occupy as you go through it, and you like have to find these star fragments in order to like populate the constellation. And the cool thing is that it's kind of like 3D-ish, so like that part we were kind of that's just cool stuff because I find it cool anyways. Is like depending on how you build the skill tree when you connect the dots, like as you walk out, the like constellation system is actually like this rotating gas cloud of stars, so you'll actually see the lines connected differently in like 3D space, and it's just kind of like cool to look at. It was very like briefly clipped in the trailer, but I think we had like actual GIF posted somewhere way long ago on our Twitter thing. But you might be able to catch like yeah, that's where you populate them in there. But then after that, there's this like dude back there who has the constellation hovering over. Oh no, it gets completely cut out, I guess. Yeah, I guess we didn't want to review.
Oh,
I guess there was
this
no.
dude right back here.
Yeah, this dude. So like when you actually collapse it back, the constellation is actually like when you leave the menu, the
Yeah.
stars are actually like in this nebulous sphere above the dude,
Yeah.
and they like connect, and we got some other like cool little perks and things like that. But basically, like you can see that little thing on the right, and it's like the 1-star system is basically like the lower kind of power up things, and the 2-star is like a higher grade power up on the right, and it just like connects the lines to the stars in the system.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
so you could probably only have as many upgrades as to fill these like couple of slots up, right?
Yeah, you get more slots as it expands as you discover them. Like there's another element there that like gives you more slots.
Okay.
But we haven't really set on an exact number of how many we want to be available. But that's the one part of like the upgrade.
And then will you be
System
able
in
to
the game.
upgrade the upgrades? Like this one, like sharpened steel is deal 1.1 melee damage.
By the
Like,
way, it's placeholder. I don't even know if that's going to be like actually. That was like for the purposes of. Like,
oh,
there's no way we
fair
fine
enough.
tune those numbers yet.
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I thought you were
so-
almost done with the game though.
Yeah, we're releasing tomorrow. Yeah, just like yeah, we'll check it out on Steam. um, yeah. So,
But what people can do, if you are just tuning in, check in the description below. You can follow the Kickstarter for when it does go live. Kickstarter is probably gonna go live in roughly 2 months from now. If you missed that earlier in the chat. So yeah. Let's see. So, what engine are you developing in?
Unity. Yeah.
Unity. I've always wondered if how. I mean, this is going to be completely personal opinion. But what game does Epic Game Store use? They use Unreal Engine. Is that right? Like
Epic Game Store?
Epic Game.
Yeah, use Unreal. Yeah.
They own like Unreal Engine, and so like the first like $1 million of sales, you don't have to pay for the engine. The engine's free up to the first $1 million of sales. Is that enticing for developers or not really? I don't know. What are you don't have to comment on this if you don't want to.
I don't know if it's enticing. It just depends the kind of game I think you want to make. At least that's my opinion. So like for something like in this vein of I would call like premium indie, if you will, I would say Unity is a good place. Unreal is more like if you want to tread into the AAA looking route, I guess.
Got it.
Because it's much better like the 3D stuff, and some of the out of the box like 3D shaders are way better in Unreal. Optimization is better than Unity for that kind of stuff, but in terms of like 2D, you don't really run into the optimization issues, and out of the box Unity's way more like user friendly to assemble things than Unreal.
Interesting.
And Unreal's like strictly 3D, I would say. Like if you're gonna do 3D games, do Unreal or anything that uses 3D tech. Whereas Unity is like 2D, 3D, and then like Game Maker is like do 2D, but like probably don't touch 3D. Even though it can do some kind of 3D, but like I wouldn't do it.
Got it. Just be difficult. Interesting.
Yeah.
What platforms are you looking to release on?
Again, we're definitely hitting up Steam. Depending on if we hit the Kickstarter goals and how that goes, we're going to be aiming to get on the rest of the platforms. Like I don't know if I should like blow names. Basically, whatever the Xbox equivalent is and the PlayStation equivalent and then Nintendo equivalent at the time. I know there was like that whole thing where some people said they'd release for Wii U and then Switch came out and then
Yeah.
you do Switch. Like for example, Hollow Knight. I don't think ever released on Wii U,
Yeah.
but that was their stretch goal in the thing because Switch wasn't a thing. So it's like whatever the equivalent of that is at the time. If they at that point have like a Switch 2, it'll be Switch 2.
Yeah. So it sounds like, yeah, because so I'm sure Xbox and PlayStation will have fully migrated to whatever their new system is within 2 years. And then Nintendo, I mean, they've already kind of, there's been rumors of a Nintendo Pro, but a Nintendo Switch Pro, but it sounds like maybe that'll be the same kind of console.
Yeah.
A Switch 4K.
Yeah, and I guess we'll do GOG as well. Sorry, I should have said that. I guess GOG and Humble also will try and hit up because there's no real like cost associated with it. Although, yeah, we'll do it probably, I guess. Although those like storefronts don't like make nearly the same amount of traffic as Steam. So yeah.
Interesting. What are your thoughts on modding?
Modding? What
Yeah.
about like if somebody wants
Just
to mod the
just
game after?
letting people mod. Yeah, I don't know because I don't know if that's
cool.
something that is it like I wonder if certain developers make it easier to allow for modding.
I honestly don't know anything about that. Like, if we have to do anything to make it easier, but like, if
I
people do
am.
mod it, I don't think anyone's against it.
Yeah. That was one thing I liked about Hollow Knight. I don't really know a whole lot about modding. There's an entire community that does it, and it's really fun. I've always wanted to, I grew up as a console gamer. Feel free to call me a pleb. I don't care. Whatever. It's fine. Not a sore spot. And so, yeah, I don't know. I never got to mod video games, but then just recently, Hollow Knight was kind of like the first game that I really got a chance to jump into it. And so, yeah, it's something that if it's not too difficult to do, it just makes it just adds so much replayability to games. So, yeah. I just didn't know if there's something that developers do to help with that. And then also with the speedrun community, I know Hollow Knight added like an in-game timer, which I don't know if that helped or hurt or whatever. I don't know. It's like these certain communities. Are these certain things that are kind of in the back of your mind as you're developing, or is it something that develops naturally over time?
I think it would probably develop naturally over time and like be upon like release with updates to cater to, because I know like with speedrun communities, I don't know too much about them, but like the bit that I've sort of talked to, at least with Unworthy, there was like weird ways in which specifically people want to time stuff, and it's just like the way I think I had the in-game timer like set up wasn't the way that they wanted to track the time, and I don't remember the nuances of it, but it's just like I'm not a speedrunner, so I don't know these details.
Yeah.
So it'd probably be like something that, you know, if the game did well enough later and there was that kind of interest, we'd speak to whomever the representative of said community would be at the time and figure out how to integrate that into the game. Yeah.
For sure. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Got a couple more questions, and I'm trying to some of the questions I wrote down. I'm like, you know what? These are let's keep it more towards CrowSworn lore. So I wrote on here like what are some of your favorite games growing up, and what games have you played lately and look forward to playing? Like, they're great questions. We'll have a beer later and talk about gaming later. But let's I want to talk about lore development. Like, what are your thoughts as far as how lore will develop in the game? I preface this with what was the game that there's one that just came out. It's some looter shooter, something or other. I can't remember, but man, it was a cutscene every like minute or two. You'd play the game for like literally 1 minute, and then it was like 2 minutes of cutscenes. You play again for like another minute or two, and another like 3 minutes of cutscenes. They were just forcing the lore into your face, and like it was too much. It was too much. I don't know. What are your thoughts on how to deliver lore?
I mean, I think the Dark Souls, for me, like that formula is like that to me is the like gold standard formula. I guess that's kind of like how the Hollow Knight formula sort of is, except I guess Hollow Knight sort of has a little bit more with just a little bit more of the NPC kind of talk, as opposed to like picking up relics and delving into it. But I think they pretty much also nailed that method, and I think for me that's the best way, just because it doesn't like shove anything in your face, and it leaves it up to the players like how much you want to do it. Like, for example, me, like when I'm playing the playthrough of Dark Souls first time, like anytime I go through it, I don't really care about the lore at all, and it's like once I beat it, finish it, like enjoy the gameplay, then I come back to it later. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna read some Wikipedia articles, maybe crack a beer, watch some baddie videos, you know, like get into this.
Yep. 100%. Like, so that's exactly how I did it. Is almost all the games I play, it's just like, I just want to enjoy the gameplay and the mechanics of it, and then I'll get into all the other stuff later. Yeah,
so I think lore has a place because it builds the world together, but I mean, also, like when you think about it from a real world perspective, how many times do you like walk into a person, they're like, hey, let me tell you about my life right now and everything I do, like I'm a lumberjack, and it's just like, well, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like it kind of tends itself to building a real world more if you kind of like leave it around or something. I think sprinkle it. So I'm definitely a proponent of that.
I mean, it also just looks like the kind of world that this place is going to be, as far as it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of people living around this time. I don't know.
depends how you define people, I guess. But yeah, sure, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Somebody actually asked earlier: is the main character human?
Uh, I'm just.
Fair
What's
enough.
that
You
thing that Left told me? You can something, some kind
do you have
of
what's that called, a safe word?
a safe word?
Yeah.
We don't have a safe word.
Oh, I thought
What's a
that's what
safe
you were
word?
saying. Like you
No,
and
no,
Left came up with a
there
safe
was
word.
like, oh my god, it's one of the like U.S. I don't know. It's like I forget what it was. It's like a U.S. thing when you say, like plead the fifth or something. Is that what it is? Like plead the fifth. Is that what it is? Like, does that sound right?
Yeah, yeah. Plead the fifth. Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. That's what I was trying to get at. As Canadians, we don't have that.
Let's see. Somebody's saying turn off the square white thing. I'm like, I don't think, can I make it? There we go. That looks so much better. Hey, you. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat and making this experience better for everyone. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, people who had night mode on were getting their eyes burned out all night.
Oh.
So anyway, oh, notes went away. Favorite games, lore, development, cutscenes, tablets. Yes. Let's see. Can you share anything about the attacks? So it sounds, so from what we can see already, what, I don't know if you're allowed to share this. The hands, they shoot out some sort of like red thing. Can you say anything about that, or no? It's fair enough if the answer is just no.
No, I can probably share into that because it's going to be discussed in the like Kickstarter a bit anyways, and I feel if anything, people, I don't think it'll throw them up, like push them away. I think they'll probably like it, so I can share that. Basically, like the main character uses 3 different things. He's got his scythe, pistols, which have names, but I won't share the names. That's what I won't share. And then he's got his like magic powers. I think I can share the name. They're like basically we refer to them as like the Corrigan powers. And that's like the black red sort of like magic that he does, and those are relatively I guess they're relatively like intricate and kind of we try to kind of go with the rule of cool with them. Like I don't know if you saw like the one move in the trailer, like you can throw this like grappling hand that sort of goes under and like scathes the ground and then grabs an enemy and pulls it to you, and like it just kind of allows for like it's mostly like rule of cool combos. Like you can definitely approach it in the more traditional like Hollow Knight fashion, I guess, where you just like hit stuff.
Yeah.
But we're trying to like our goal was to sort of allow players to do super cool stuff that makes you just feel like
a BA.
Yeah, basically. So like you don't have to do this necessarily. You could have just whacked at him from the front, but it's kind of cool.
Interesting. The rule of cool. I've actually never heard that before. Is that like a design philosophy or?
No, I learned that from Bodhi, who might still be in the chat, and apparently like the way I had to summarize it, I've told Left too, and he was like, "What's the rule of cool?" And I'm like, I think it's one of those things. From what I understood, it basically means, it doesn't need to make sense. If it's cool, it's okay.
Okay, I like it.
So
if it's cool, it's okay.
So
I'm gonna use that on my wife later. Hey, if it's cool, it's okay. Oh man. Okay, what else we got? Hands, pistols. Completely has nothing to do with. Side note: pistols. Did you ever read the Stephen King's The Gunslinger?
Is it? I don't think I read it, but that's the one with?
They did a movie about it at some point.
A movie of it.
Yeah,
I think I watched the movie. Yeah.
It was good. It was good. I don't know. When I saw the pistols, it made me think of his sandalwood or pistolwood grips. Yeah, I don't remember if they had names or anything, but I was just wondering if there was a anything with that in there. Let's see. Oh, so will we actually find weapons, upgrades, parts as part of the game in a way to upgrade in that way, or is all the upgrading going to be through this like skill tree type deal?
No, so we have this thing, I guess I'll share it on the Kickstarter. We haven't really shared that bit. It kind of works functionally. No, it doesn't work functionally. In the selector, the way you collect it is it works, like the collectible inserts are kind of like the charms in Hollow Knight, but it's not a charm system, so I don't think it's that. It's based on, in some similarity to like Diablo rune system. So we have this like thing where these runes come in 3 different elements. I'm not going to spoil what they are right now, but it basically is like you place them in things, and based on what you have as adjacent runes, give you like additional bonuses. So you kind of get to
Interesting.
customize how you want to wheel it up, and it's kind of inspired by the Diablo set gear system. Like, I don't know if you guys ever played that, but it's basically
Yeah.
like if you have like 2 pieces of the set, you get a little bonus. If you have 3, it's like this, but it's more like geometrically speaking. Like let's just say they're like fire, wind, and water. All those aren't the elements, but it would be like, oh, this rune is like if you have 2 fire runes adjacent, you get this bonus. If you have 2 fires and a water, you get this bonus and stuff like that.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
So,
I played a little Diablo 2 back in the day. Played a little bit more Diablo 3. And had an interesting launch, interesting way of doing things for sure.
yeah.
So, long days and pleasant nights. Yes, my friend. Yes. Somebody said this, but will there be a currency?
Yes. Yeah, definitely a currency that you purchase stuff with. Yeah.
There you go. And let's see. That was I got through all my questions. I got through all the main ones. Now we gotta look at chat and see what they have to say. I'm sure
Yeah,
somebody's
I feel like
got.
there was a lot coming out, and I just kind of saw them scroll by.
It's hard. It's hard to keep up with them. So chat, please don't spam. But if you got some questions, now's a good time. And hello, and thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. I saw a couple donations come through as well. The pistols remind me of Dark Watch. Interesting.
Dark Watch. I actually don't know what Dark Watch is.
I don't know either.
How do you take inspiration from other games to create your own unique project? Man, that's hard to. Okay, that's hard to answer because I've heard like, not to even rail on this, but it's like it kind of it's like how do you? It seems like it's harder and harder to be unique, even though you try to sometimes. Because I noticed that like one of the bits, like our bridge scene that we have in there, which looks like I guess God Home in the terms of color palette, is like people are like, oh man, this is just God Home, and I'm like, man, if you like Google a picture of Anne Orlando, I'm like, it looks like Anne Orlando, and I'm like, it's like I can't help that that the color palette's orange.
Right.
But we were going definitely for like Anne Orlando with that one. So, I mean, I'm sure if you just Google an image, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Let me pull it up. What's it called? Say it again.
Anor Londo. It's like ANOR space LONDO. Like, probably the first image you'll see will look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this bit. I think some people are like, oh, this looks just like God Home. And yeah, that was like the thing. I'm like, I don't know what games did he play growing up? His favorites. Will there be different after beating the game? Be different content after beating the game? Will there be content after beating the game? What do you mean by will there be content after beating? How long do you anticipate the gameplay to be? I can answer that one easily. Like, I think we have to make the gameplay as like, since basically we're making the game, and that's the goal, is like it has to be as long as Hollow Knight. Like, that's the short answer, I guess. Just because we don't want to, like, it's unfortunate that's what it is. You're being like compared to that game, and that's how it's gonna be.
So as far as content after beating the game, it's kind of like Hollow Knight, how they had the God Home DLC where you could boss. It was essentially a boss rush mode, right?
Right. Well, we'd like to again, but it really depends on like, I don't want to answer those questions in the sense like, let's say we launch and it flops completely, and it's like you can't support it because it doesn't make sense like financially, then you don't do it, right? But like, we would like to do the same route that kind of like Team Cherry did and just like grow the game and do it for like free, I guess, assuming that the game's popular enough.
Yeah. Let's see. Will there be multiple endings?
We intend to do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. How will the healing work?
So the healing works similar to the like Estus system in Dark Souls. Okay, so I don't entirely know how the Silksong healing system works, but I think it works in that sense similar to that, where you do heal more than one like pip, as opposed to the way it is in like Hollow Knight 1, but you don't get to do like this regenerative like bar of whatever the system is in Silksong. I guess it's Silk or something, but
yeah.
You just get like Estus Flask, so you basically like get these like one-off use things, and then like they're not called Estus Flask, but I'm trying to relate to like for people who play Dark Souls. So yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like these little things Let's see, what is? Oh no, those are the bullets for his gun, for his weapon. Interesting.
Yeah.
And so, does it just take it just takes him a second, like once he probably has to like be on the ground or something, like he just has to be out of battle for the gun to reload?
You got to be on the ground when you do it, and then like he consumes one of those the little orbs on the bottom that you see down there, like those are your like healing flasks, the little balls on the under the like squiggly circle thing.
Got it. Oh, interesting.
Some ultra hard mode like Hollow Knight with Steel Soul. I think we'd like to do something like that for people who are into it. I'd personally never play Hollow Knight and Steel Soul. Like I saw what it was and I was like, no, thank you. But I'm sure we'll do it for. Like we can probably do something like that. Might be like a stretch goal.
Let's see. How much is a Kickstarter asking for? I know the Hollow Knight community will fund it day one.
How much is it asking for?
So like what's the minimum amount to fund the game?
I don't know what that would translate to US. I think I'd have to look at it again, but I think we were going for, I'll just share it. I think it was like 85K if I understand correctly. I'd have to look at it again, but I think it was like 85K Canadian, which I don't know what it converts to US. It might be like 60K US or something.
Let's find out.
Or close to 65.
67, yeah, give or take.
67, give or take. Yeah, It's kind of funny when you're working in Canadian currency. But that's basically like what the like base goal, I guess, is. Will it be on Switch? We'd like it to be on Switch for sure. I mean, like I'm sure we'll figure out a way to get it there anyways. But it always helps if we're able to meet those stretch goals, just because then it'll cover the porting bits.
Let's see. So the Charms in Hollow Knight, in my opinion, is overpowered. How will they balance the stat system and such if one rune or whatever you call it is OP? Is there builds I can do?
Sorry, what was the question about the?
So it sounds like the question, if I had to break it down, is one, are there going to be builds? So you already touched on that. So if there were 3 different elements, fire, wind, and water, then you could put on like 3 fire runes and now your fire deals more damage, or you've got an extra ability or something because you have all fire runes. But I guess he's asking, I mean, how will they balance a stat system and such if one rune or whatever you call it is overpowered?
I mean, you try to, I guess you try your best to balance against it, right?
Yeah, it's just part of balancing.
I don't know how to answer the question. It's like you just try.
You just play the game and try to dial it in.
Was the cursor in some of the clips intentional? The cursor was intentional in the last clip as an Easter egg, but I bamboozled it on the middle clip because it was in 2 of them. So one was intentional, the other one was an accident.
What was this? I'm sorry, I was reading something else.
The cursor is like visible in the trailer for 2 of the bits, and I noticed the last one anyways, and I was thinking like, should I re-record the footage? But I was kind of like, it'll be funny to leave it here, so I left the last one, but the middle one I didn't notice.
That's awesome.
So that was a bamboozle.
And heckling
is
my...
there a
go ahead.
Bench system? There's like a save system. We don't have a bench necessarily. I just feel like a bench wouldn't fit our vibe anyways, entirely. You just find abilities in the game. It's a skill tree having new abilities. They're kind of new in a way. It's not like just flat stat buffs. Like that 1.1 damage was placeholder, but the idea is that so we're inspired also by like League of Legends bits as well. So like that like fast shooting shot that you've seen in the game is kind of inspired by one of the like characters, Jin, in the game, where his like last bullet deals extra damage. So that's why you see that like big mega bullet at the end. But that would be something that you would unlock from the constellation tree, where it would be like the final bullet in your chamber is like a mega bullet. So that would be like something that's not just stat based, I guess, but rather like modifier. And then there's other bits too. Any waifus? Any waifus? All the waifus.
I'm sure there'll be something that gets turned into one, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
in Heckling My Dog, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Congrats to the developer for believing in themselves and making their dreams come true. We'll support the game because not everyone is that brave. Very awesome. I can't even imagine like quitting the day job and whatever else, man.
Yeah, it was a leap of. I mean, it was predominantly my wife, or at the time we were just dating, but she was the one who like got me to do it as well because I was coming back like kind of cheesed from the subway ride from work and just like that whole typical underappreciated work vibe and just getting bummed out like playing video games. She was like, why don't you like make video games, start playing it? And I started doing it in the evenings, and then eventually I was like, yeah, I feel like I could do more of this. And she was like, yeah, just do it. And I was like, okay. Had a few savings from the job that I did work and kind of went at it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm hoping. Don't tell my boss, but I'm hoping that one day I could do that too. Not making games, but you know what I mean. Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, so some whispering going on there. I was like, whoa.
Oh yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's see.
The swirl thing on the UI. That's like our, for lack of a better term, like mana system. The energy there, like the mana in this game is like called malice. So you generate malice with things, and it does stuff. I don't want to say everything it does, but it's the thing you use for a good chunk of your like Corvian abilities. But there's other things that it does too.
Let's see. You answered this earlier, but somebody, I'm sure some of these questions maybe we'll double up, and that's okay. Who's doing the music?
Fellow named JJ Ibsen is doing the music right now. I guess you guys can probably, I don't know how, he's not that big on Twitter, but I guess you could probably follow him.
Do you happen to know off the top of your head of anything he's done that might be that we'd know?
Actually, this was like, I guess he was excited that he got into this project too, but he just wanted to get into like indie stuff. But the work that he did before, I mean, I think he was a part of a couple like big indie scene bands in Canadian scene, but then also he did the music for Planet Zoo, which is like apparently a big game by like a bigger studio like Frontier or something. So I know they got like 50 or 60,000 like reviews on Steam, so it's clearly a bigger game, but like it's not necessarily, I would say, the most unique or like music with character. It's just kind of like high quality, like standard music, I guess. You know what I mean? Just like kind of
yeah.
Like, it's not like it has any. I mean, even he says it, so I'm not like ragging on it. But it's not like music that's high into personality flavor. Got
it. Let's see. Will there be a map system?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. I'm like Metroidvania without a map.
All right. Let's see. Will there be a multiplayer system similar to one like Dark Souls, where it's mainly PvE focused, but summoning is an option, or just some sort of multiplayer?
We were talking about that with like Leth the other day, and he was like, he told us if we did it, he would leave the team. So no, so we don't get to do that.
So you have to wait till you're about to fire him.
Oh, we're not gonna fire him. Leth's the man.
Oh man. Let's see. Map system. Who is the artist? Beautiful direction.
So there's like multiple people doing stuff. Like I do the enemies and the animation, I guess, and all that stuff. The backgrounds are done by this guy who he got me in a pickle because he told me not to swear, but I think his Twitter handle has a swear word in it.
That's fine. You're fine.
To pronounce it.
That's okay.
So can I drop it?
Yeah, go for it.
I can use it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got permission. Cool. Okay, so his Twitter handle is like Skittle fuck. I don't know why, but he's like pretty talented with pixel. He's just like crazy. He's like a young dude and like ridiculously talented. Just like I don't know what to say else.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Raj, let's see.
When enemies die in this game, will the corpse be left like in Hollow Knight? Some enemies leave corpses. Some just blow up into body parts. Is it gonna? Yeah, he asking to come on Switch. We'd like to get on Switch. We would like to. That's a goal.
At least with this, now you'll know what to add into your FAQ page.
Is it coming to Switch? Yeah, we'd like it to. Yeah. Is it gonna come on Switch? Pure Vessel.
What's the punishment for death?
We don't know about that one yet entirely. We were thinking about that a long time, and I was like, the Hollow Knight. I'm not a fan of the Hollow Knight death system, and I thought long and hard about why I'm not a fan. Um, and I think it works for Dark Souls because of like the linear nature of like when you restart, you kind of have to go down the same path. Whereas like in a Metroidvania like Hollow Knight, you might die, and to get back to your shade is like completely in the opposite direction of where you actually want to go, and it's just like this weird chore. At least that was my experience with it. So we're not doing that, if that's the question. I don't know what it is yet, but it's definitely not going to be something that forces you to backtrack through like places you don't need to go.
Okay.
I know fundamentally that's not what we're going to have. Yeah.
Fair enough. And then along the same lines, I imagine will there be a fast travel system?
Yes. Yeah. Also, again, I don't want to rag on Hollow Knight, but different than the stag thing. Like I thought that was for me, it was like they were too like spaced out. Like I was like, oh,
yeah,
please.
that was my biggest pain point of Hollow Knight, to be honest, was when I would like get somewhere really far and just enjoying the exploration, doing my thing, and then like looking at the map and being like, okay, I need to go either point A, point B, or point C. All of those are super far away, and I'm going to take like 30 minutes backtracking because it's on the other side of the map just to find out that that wasn't the place I need to go, and I just couldn't remember that, oh yeah, I need a double jump and I can't get there. So I just wasted all that time. That was super frustrating.
Yeah, I think our goal is like, it's just, you don't want to make it too like easy to travel anywhere, but I think the goal will be to, at least in some way, shape, or form, allow every save point to connect, or at least like some save points to connect to other save points. And we're not entirely sure how we're going to connect it, but we know save points will let you fast travel to other save points, and it might not be all save points, but also visually representing, like for me, it's a preference. I feel like if I was fast traveling, I'd like to just open up the map and pick where that other location is that I'm fast traveling, as opposed to like how I think Hollow Knight had that like secondary UI that was like a train station kind of like schematic or whatever.
Yeah.
Which to me was like, I was like, I don't know where I'm going actually. Like I have to remember these names or something, and it just, yeah.
Raj.
So that was.
Let's say maybe we can add a waifu stretch goal.
A waifu stretch goal. I mean, there's like probably an NPC design stretch goal, so like, I guess people can design waifus if they really want to.
Oh man. Okay. Can you change your character's look?
In a way, but in a way.
Okay.
It's weird. I don't know how to answer that question.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Your sequel will be safe with all 100,000 of us.
Yeah. Maybe just a percentage lost to your money as punishment. I don't know if that would work, because I'm just thinking like, man, I remember that in like Hollow Knight. It's like, dude, if I like somehow lost my Geo in that thing, like Geo was so intricately connected to progression in the game that I was like, my god, that is like a way worse punishment than like Souls and Dark Souls, because just like I just don't get to level up and I beat a boss and I basically got the same number of souls again. Whereas like in Hollow Knight, you lose your Geo and it's like, now I can't buy that thing I needed.
Yeah, that was a big
Lantern
turnoff.
or whatever.
For there, yeah. I saw in the comments for at least more than a handful of people who said, I just lost like 10,000 Geo. This game's so difficult for me as it is. Like, I don't even want to play anymore. I'm just like, I can understand. I get it. So, but then come to find out, like late game.
Losing your hat. You lose your hat when you die? Yeah, go get your hat back.
Yeah, get your hat back. Otherwise, just shame.
It's pretty good. Man, that's funny.
Let's see. There's a lot of good questions in here. Thanks, chat. I really appreciate it. Somebody's asking, will there be any comic relief like Zote in Hollow Knight?
How do I answer this question? Kind of, but different. But kind of.
Okay.
It's different. Fair
enough. So we talked about the 3 different types of weapons. Somebody's asking what kind of weapons it would be. So it's so you got the gun, you've got your spells, for lack of a better term, and then you've got your scythe. But then also, will you be able to obtain different weapons, like a full auto gun or an actual, or like a sword or something else?
No. It's for several. I can answer why too. It's for several. It's also just that's the kind of thing that bloats a design and development. Like then you gotta like it goes hand in hand, that question of like how are you gonna balance everything. And it's like, well, now we got more things to balance, and it's just like they like create a network of balancing issues. So that's the thing. But also in terms of like keeping the character, for lack of a better term, and I think Bodhi's probably gonna like, if he's still in the chat, gonna like die laughing over this, but to keep him somewhat iconic is like to tie in his design together, I guess. Because otherwise, if he's just swapping weapons, then you know he's just like a dude swapping weapons, I guess.
Makes sense. Let's see. Thoughts on how movement evolves and possible progression skips.
Yeah, so this may be like, it might be worthwhile. Like we got some. I mean, like when we did this trailer, we really wanted to keep it somewhat just like the only cool thing was the guns, and everything else was gonna be super vanilla. And maybe that was I don't know if it was a bad thing in hindsight, just because of. I mean, I can't say it was a bad thing. Like the trailer did exceptionally well for us, so I can't say any of it was a bad thing. It's just like maybe would have invited less of the comparisons to Hollow Knight if we showed some more of the unique mechanics. But
yeah,
the only other one that we've revealed, and we got a few that we'll reveal as we go, is the what we just call it, like the whirling dervish mode. So that's, I think Leth was the one who tweeted that one the other day. I'm sure you can like pull out that tweet with the video, and it's like you just basically turn to this like spinny saw blade ball of like destruction, and it allows you to do some cool like bouncing around spikes thing, and it's like super fun to do too.
Let's see if I can't pull that. Oh yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, that was super fun. I was having a blast doing it. Like I was stuck in that thing, just like jumping around for a while, and I was like, oh man, this is like great. And you totally feel like again,
like Sonic. You're stealing from Sonic Pinball, and I don't know. Do you remember that game, Sonic Pinball?
I never played it. I played only like early Sonic games, like back when I was a kid on the Genesis with like Tails and stuff.
It was on Genesis, yeah. It was probably the it might have been the like third, fourth Sonic game. It was a total spin-off. It was terrible. It was so bad. I hated it. I don't know why I played it. But this looks fun. Sorry, that sounded so bad. I at some point I realized I don't like doing the flippers for the pinball, because it would always go right down the center. There's nothing I could do. I'd get so angry at that game sometimes. It's like Mario Golf or something, you know? Sounds like a great game. You get so angry playing games like that. So, whoa. Hey, me? Could you not right now? All right, there we go.
Yeah, so that's like and then there's another thing. That's another difference, I guess. And due to that being I hate to compare it to like Hollow Knight, but there's like really like a methodical structure to most Metroidvanias. And like the Hollow Knight Crystal Dash is Symphony of the Night's wolf form. Like that's just this purpose they serve. But due to us having this kind of system, we also have slopes in the game, which is different than Hollow Knight, because
interesting.
That ball needs to roll up slopes. Otherwise, if we just had it on the ground like that, you could see like in a game like Hollow Knight, you just like, oh, I found this pit, I bumped into a wall, and like, all right, let me jump up here again, let me roll for like 2 seconds, and then bump into another wall. Whereas the fact that there's this airborne allows you to like traverse levels in a different fashion.
Interesting. That's super cool. I can't remember the last time I've seen a mechanic like that in a game. So that's super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was relatively like original in terms of inspiration, I would hope. I mean, it is kind of like the Sonic ball, but it wasn't really like thought of. We weren't thinking about the Sonic thing. We actually were inspired by the wolf form in Symphony, but we thought like, man, the wolf form had its own issues where it's like when you bump into a wall, it just like ends when you jump. And I was like, what can we make cooler? And I'm like, right, if we start bouncing off walls. And then I was like, what else is there? There's spikes. And I'm like, right, so what if you bounce off spikes? And then it's just like kind of like went from there as a traversal mechanism.
Interesting. Yeah, I very excited to like that. That's one of the like main things. Like when you play different games, like getting new mechanics and stuff like that is always like super fun. So.
Yeah, somebody's asking about the mist form in Symphony Night. No, there won't be anything like that, just because I'm not a fan of it for pacing. Like the mist form is like you turn to this like mist thing, and you just kind of like slowly go, and our game is like supposed to be like high energy, like steroids kind of thing, so it just wouldn't vibe with it, I think.
Good stuff. Let's see. This is a good question. What would be the desired difficulty for the game? Would it be fairly accessible for newer Metroidvania players, or would you need to have a bit of experience? And slash, another question came up after this is, will there be selectable difficulties?
So no to the like immediate selectable difficulty thing. I think we're just gonna go with the like you have one kind of difficulty, and then later if we do some like new game plus or like Steel Soul mode or whatever the equivalent of it would be, then we'd add that on later. But the base experience would just be like one set difficulty. The idea I think is the core playthrough of the game should be like relatively accessible difficulty. Like for me, I guess like since everyone here's like a Hollow Knight fan, I think it uses like it's a good sort of benchmark for
Baseline,
discussion. Yeah. So I'd say like that kind of level of difficulty would be appropriate, and then if you want to do like the things to 100% the game, then you kind of have to tread through the areas where it's like, oh, difficulty is a little bit harder, because that's like
it's extra, right?
Call like extra like elite content. Nothing that's like crazy that you're gonna like beat your head into a wall over, but like just a little bit more challenging.
Let's see, somebody asked, does a player protagonist have a name? We said not yet, or we don't know yet.
Yeah, we're just not gonna disclose it, I guess, yet. Can there be a tribute that doesn't look too similar to the pieces that it draws inspiration from? Tribute. Will there be any difficult platforming sections? Making sure allies are a rival. Which question do you want me to answer? I'm like reading through these.
There's so many questions. Yeah. I like if you see anything that just looks like an interesting question, please feel free to just answer. Yeah.
I like the AI question. I guess that's the one thing that we sort of are doing a little bit different at sometimes, where we have like light machine learning AI. It was something I did in Unworthy, where it like tries to in some way calibrate towards the player's playstyle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
Not, like, ridiculous, but
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So it's a little bit more dynamic, I guess, in terms of decisions, as opposed to just like cooldown parameters.
Interesting.
Will bosses have health bars? No. We thought about that for a long time, and no. I think there's some extra like spice and anticipation that comes from not knowing how much health the boss has. Will upgrades be more stats or new abilities? Stats or new abilities mix with like stats and new abilities, I guess. Will there be platforming settings like White Palace or Path of Pain? Yes, but different. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. So what will the price of the game be, do you think?
I'm just gonna say, we discussed with Leth. I'm of the mindset that Hollow Knight set the standard. It does not make sense to price it any like differently. It doesn't make sense. Like I discussed it with Leth. It's probably like the best Metroidvania out there right now, and it's like it's hard to justify pricing it any different.
Charging more for something, yeah.
Well, it doesn't make any sense to me, anyways. It's like, I don't know. It's either like at that point, it's either an ego play or there's something else associated with it. And also, I think it's just due to kind of like, I guess, for lack of a better term, the kind of like hype we've got going on right now. It seems like we're okay with pricing it at that point. Whereas I would argue you need to price your games higher if you feel they're going to sell less copies, because that way the product life cycle is a little bit different, because then most of the time you're depending on sales to actually like 50% off sales on Steam to actually make revenue off your game if you're in that boat. And that means that like if your game is cheap and you do 50% off, it's like super cheap and you can't make anything off of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like weird, but I think we're going to be okay. And also given that like it's very without like we're not trying to hide it, like on the nose comparison to Hollow Knight in a lot of fashion, we don't want to like do anything differently. And I think also that's what Leth told us to do, and he seems to know what he's doing, I think.
I think so. My understanding is
I think so too. Yeah. I mean, either that or he pulled the wool over our eyes pretty damn well.
Yeah,
darn
right.
well. So
let's see. I don't know if I missed this. Let's see what. Sorry, we just answered that one. Will there be any button combo spells, like where you actually like the buttons you press like in a certain way? Like that sounds like it'd be almost more like a fighting game at that point if they were like.
Yeah, we're trying to avoid that kind of thing. It's more like everything has its there's only like one thing that we kind of sort of have as like different. So like the one move that he like does where he does that like dark energy drill style thing in the front is if you tap B, he shoots like a slap like wave or like beam that just goes forward. If you hold B, he like does the like channeled like drill and it deals more damage in a shorter range and just like feels good because you get that like quick successive impact like and just it's like super visceral, I guess.
Yeah, I like the way that the attacks look. They're very I don't know if flashy is the right word, but it looks like you're doing something, like stuff's happening. Like when you're shooting those guns, it looks like even like the slight like camera shake and everything that gets added in there. It looks good. I like it. That's one thing that a lot of people miss is like the sound design, along with that the way that it looks. Like it's got to feel good. It's got to sound good. It's got to like all come together. Like in Hollow Knight, they did a really good job of whenever you take damage, like it sounds like you like something like catastrophic just happened. It's just like it feels weighted. I don't know.
Right.
It's good.
Yeah. No, we definitely spent a lot of time on getting the game feel right. Can you animation cancel attack into a roll? Some things can animation cancel, not all things. Are the bosses more pattern based or more reaction based? Depends on the boss, I guess. The guy looks like he's from Shovel Knight. Which guy looks like he's from Shovel Knight? Main guy? You think he's like Plague Knight? I mean, Plague Knight's a plague doctor, I guess. So.
I guess plague doctors would look like other plague doctors, right?
Yeah.
In general.
I think Plague Knight has a hood as opposed to. Which is funny. People like the hat, man. I hated the hat for a while.
Really?
I don't like shit. Everyone likes the hat. Yeah. I don't know, man. I guess it just stuck. I was like, I don't know why I drew a hat, and then it just like stuck. And I'm like, all right, I'm stuck with the hat now. Will there be a structured quest system? So yeah, there'll be like NPC quest lines for things for sure. Will there be a lot of environments? Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot. We have a map that we haven't showed. I can't show it yet. It's like pretty big. Some of the guys in the chat may have seen it. Like Left's seen it, but it's pretty sizable. What can you say about the speedruns of the game? I can't say anything about speedruns. I don't know anything about speedrunning, to be honest. Do you plan to add any DLC or extra content if the game does well? Yeah, absolutely. I think we'd like to, serve fans as much as we can with that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, we like making stuff. I mean, honestly, it's like if the game's doing well, like we'll make stuff. Like as long as we can, like for lack of a better term, put bread on the table, we'll make stuff. What are the tiers? Like how much to make an NPC? I can't really comment on the NPC one because we're not sure how we want to pitch the NPC thing because like it's like what does NPC entail? If it's just like a dude that says something when you go by him, then we can do it for relatively cheap. But if it's like we're gonna have a quest line associated with him, then obviously that's gonna take more development time. So then we'd have to make it a higher price tier. What other games are we planning after CrowSworn? Oh yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's just get this one done. We'll figure that one out.
How long do you aim the game to be?
I think.
Oh, I think we
like,
said that around Hollow Knight, right?
Like Hollow Knight level. I think that's what you have to do. It's like I think I saw like some weird. That wasn't weird. But it was like some kind of podcast where we were discussing like, oh man, if you make your game look like Hollow Knight, then I don't know if that's a good idea because they're gonna be compared to Hollow Knight. I'm like, why wouldn't you like want to,
you'd want to be compared to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
It's
well, to every extent. I mean, like I don't know. It's like we don't want to sell ourselves short. Like I we'll take on the challenge. Hopefully, we'll succeed. But like
that's awesome.
I don't think anyone on the team's like afraid of, pushing ourselves to be as good as like what Hollow Knight did. Like, yeah.
Let's see. Are you aiming for an M rating or T rating?
It'll probably have to be T, I guess, honestly, just because of the nature of it. Like, I don't think we can avoid that.
Yeah.
We'd like to get the E thing, but it's just like guns and gunplay like lend themselves to that, and it's like something that was important to us anyways. We really wanted to go down the what you call it, like BA factor. Like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, for sure.
So, will there be some Easter eggs? Yeah, there's some Easter eggs. Another 50-hour game. What's the idea behind the game's title? I can't comment on that. There's like a lore implication to it, so I can't really comment on the idea behind the.
I mean, you can kind of put it together a little bit. Like, if I had to guess, obviously you can't. If you can't say anything, I'll speculate. So, I mean, he's a plague doctor, wearing the crow beak. Probably some sort of plague going on based on this here. I mean, we've got sewage and stuff, and one of the enemies that we saw was, I mean, some of these guys looking infected or something's going on. Oh, yeah, stuff's just dropping down. Yeah, isn't this enemy right here? Where'd it go? No, it's coming up. This thing. I mean, plague. Look, orange stuff coming off. Yeah, he's trying to. And so, plague doctors. If you guys don't know anything, you make sure to look up the history about plague doctors. They basically wore these beaks, and they were trying to ward off the bad smell. I forget what they called it. There's a term for it. And that bad smell is what they thought. That's where they thought the plague came from. But I wish I knew more about the actual lore of like why crows, why. I don't know the order, what they believed in or whatever, but I don't know. There's just some interesting things. There's probably a plague. There's probably crows, the beak, all that stuff. I'm sure it all comes together, right? Yeah.
We should hire you for story.
Oh my gosh, I'm the worst. I can barely read, let alone write.
Oh man. It looks like some form of dark fantasy. Is that what you're going for? What style? Yeah, it's dark fantasy. It's a little bit darker. I'll drop the word biblical than some other games, I guess.
Interesting.
How the character makes the hat no fall off.
So, can you answer whether or not the plague doctor will be like have lore based on what actual plague doctors are like? Like, will that be woven in there a little bit? Is that fair?
I can just say, I might as well just say like no, not really. I'll just put that out there, I guess.
Okay.
It's like I don't think there are other games now that the Radiance is infecting other games too now. Maybe. There you go. That's what's happening. This guy got to figure it out. In the setting of the game, is platforming involved largely? Yeah, there's platforming like elements. Oh man, hold on, you cracked the beer? Wait a minute. Give me a second.
What? Did I do that?
I don't know. Give me a second.
It's been open for a while. And...
Oh man.
I told you I was getting one.
I know. I didn't come prepared, but I'm going to my mini fridge.
Let's see. Oh shoot, what was that? Somebody's asking if there'll be any mutually exclusive decisions. So like while you're playing the game, you're gonna have to play the game a second time depending on what decision you made. You open door A instead of door B or whatever.
I don't think we will, to be honest. I did something like that with Unworthy, where basically you had to complete the game twice to face the like last boss, and people didn't like the idea of repeating it another time to get content for like it was a test and it was kind of cool, but like a lot of people didn't like that, and I think a lot of people want to do the thing where like I assume that's just a general experience. It was something that Symphony and I didn't do it because you get 200% that game in theory, but like when you own a Hollow Knight and it's like I'm at these eggs, this feels like a end game boss, let me see how much I've completed, and it's like I've completed 63%. It's like, oh okay, I'm gonna go somewhere else now. So I feel that's more in line of kind of how people want to experience these things. Will there be animated cutscenes? That is a Kickstarter stretch goal. We would like to get animated cutscenes, some really nice ones, but it'll be like a stretch goal.
Interesting. Is with this Kickstarter goal, is your team pretty much all in place, or are there certain aspects that you will need to hire out for?
So the one thing I want to do right now is just because like the way we design enemies and like animate them is the one thing that's I'd say very different than like Hollow Knight, and we definitely need like it would help to get more animators because it takes me like so much time to do these animations. I mean, I can just like if people are like interested, I might as well just like address like what the cool thing about that is, because like the one thing that Team Cherry benefits a lot from with their animation style is, and I think it's even like their header of the name is like Sweet Round Games, is that they use round shapes for a lot of stuff.
Interesting.
And like round shapes are exceptionally good for animation because no matter how you move them in the plane, a sphere is always a sphere. So you don't have to really worry about silhouette composures. And that's what they really like capitalize a lot on, and it looks like wonderful for them. But obviously we can't do that because if we did that, then we really are looking like Hollow Knight, and it just doesn't fit the vibe of our kind of like game, what we're trying to go for in terms of designs. But that's
Interesting.
their like super efficient thing, and that's why like when we had the discussion before the thing, when you were like, oh man, they said they can make an enemy in like 45 minutes or something in terms of animating, and it's like, yeah, the code doesn't take that long for basic enemies, but like the animation for like even this little jumping goop guy in the sewer, like he's got limbs and they move around and the shading is different, like it takes a lot more time than most of the Hollow Knight enemies.
Interesting. Man,
So
in my mind, like I would always think that like things that were lines, like straight lines, square, whatever, would be easier to animate than something that's round. I don't know why. I always think of like when you zoom in on a circle, you always have like, I don't know, the edges are always funky because it always ends up having to turn into more straight lines.
well, no, because a sphere, like no matter how you turn, it's a sphere, right?
Yeah,
Like if you take a ball, no matter how you rotate that thing, it always looks like a ball, so you can always get away with that. You just kind of move it up and down, left and right,
interesting.
and then you benefit from that a lot.
Huh.
Earlier,
Dream of Reality says, "Oh my gosh, they really are all around." That's funny.
yeah.
Somebody says, "Is this game streamer friendly?"
What does streamer friendly mean?
I don't know. I just hope the music's copyright free. That's always been my big deal. I'm like, oh man.
Oh yeah, then it should be. I guess it's like JJ's doing the music, like our composer.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hate the deleted message stuff. I'm always curious what the deleted message was.
I can't even see the deleted messages.
Uh,
I've got.
Damn it. Darn it. My curiosity.
I got really good mods. We got a good mod team. We try to keep things family friendly as best we can, and so they're on top of it. Sometimes it's just messages where it's just spam, and sometimes it's no words. I guess.
How do you feel about the sudden hype of the game? I think we were all kind of like blown away. Nobody expected to do this well, although there's also like part guilt with it, I guess, because we're just like we are very much aware that like without Hollow Knight, this game wouldn't ever have this amount of hype. Like we're not ignorant of that, and it's almost like I guess to us with the Hollow Knight like art decision, it was more like to me Hollow Knight isn't necessarily art. It's just like to me in my head, it's like this game that is like a pinnacle of quality. Like when you look at that game, you're like when you see something that's like yes, that is quality. It's almost like a brand of quality more than anything else, and I'm just like if you pose something like that then people immediately associate it with like it's got to be quality, and that was sort of like one of the reasons that it happened that way, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Different guns. Nah, they're gonna be the same. It doesn't sound like there's gonna be like picking up a shotgun and then
No, it's nothing like that. But there's like some customization to the guns in some fashion. But yeah.
Good stuff. I know it's super late for you, so if you wanna wind down, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? I'm fine
cool to keep going. Like I usually stay up with to like 2 or 3 anyways most nights. Okay. My time.
We can keep going. We can keep going.
If that's a polite way for you to cue us to finish.
No, not at all. I usually go for at least another half hour to an hour from here.
Cool.
Yeah. So please, and plus maybe that means I can get another beverage.
There you go.
Just kind of feel out how we're doing. So there's probably going to be some double comments. Like how many people are working on this? I counted 1, 2, 3, 5-ish. Maybe a little bit more. Let's see. What will the save spots be like? So we said no benches. But yeah, I don't think you said what they would actually be like. Like what are we looking for in a checkpoint? It's probably not a bonfire. And
it's not a bench. I can't go into too much about it, but I can tell you what it looks like to some extent, but like there's a lot more to it that I think people are gonna be like, whoa, that's cool when they see it. And it's the guy that's in the back of that, like when you do the constellation tree in there, like the constellation tree is accessed from save points, so it's that guy. But what that guy is and how it works, I'm not gonna like. Damn it! Every time message is deleted, retracted, deleted. Like this is driving me nuts. Oh man.
Yeah,
All right.
now you're just staring at it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like staring. I'm like, I gotta catch it before it's deleted, and then I'll.
Do you guys have a Discord server?
No, we don't. We were thinking about it, and I was doing it, and then I'm just gonna openly say it. Leth told us not to.
Oh, interesting.
Said let other people do it, and he was right. Because I don't. I'm like, man, with the amount of development time, like I don't want to manage a Discord server.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, how did the idea of the game start?
How did the idea of the game start?
Yeah.
Which portion of it? The lore, the mechanics, the
I guess how does the game start? Like in like you're like, yeah, we want to make a new game.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool to have a Metroid. Does it start with the idea of, yeah, let's design a Metroidvania, or does it start with like, hey, I got this idea of a cool character in this world, or I don't know, how does a game designer start designing a game? I have no idea.
So I mean, the Metroidvania route was basically like I've just like always wanted to make Metroidvanias. It was even before the Unworthy thing. Like for a while, I wanted to make that trading card game thing, but then I realized what that means, and I was like, okay, so like my next favorite thing is Metroidvanias. So I made Unworthy, and then got enough. I would say, like I started not knowing anything and learned a lot through that project, and then just wanted to kind of take what I've learned from that and like make something better, because that game is obviously like an amalgam of learning and mistakes because it's your first time, whereas now I can avoid those pitfalls, and that's where we went with this. And it's just like that's where the idea was to like make a Metroidvania, I guess. The Plague Doctor thing just kind of like built itself from, again, same like an amalgam of like ideas that we liked. Like scythes are cool. Nobody was really using scythes at the time when we were doing it, as far as I could tell. And I was like, everyone's using a sword or some variant of it or whatever. So I'm like, scythe, even though it doesn't really make sense as a weapon. Rule of cool again.
Yeah, no, totally cool.
Yeah, and then guns were basically like added because I'm like a huge fan of Devil May Cry, and I think and it's gonna sound like juvenile as heck, but like the idea is that there's something cool about unloading guns at point blank range, because it doesn't really make sense. Like you'd use a knife or a scythe.
Yeah.
But when you unload at point blank range, it's just like cool. And they do that in Devil May Cry all the time. So I was like, oh yeah, man, like that's the bee's knees.
I feel like I shouldn't even open my mouth here, but I actually never played Devil May Cry. And there's cool. there's like 4 of them, right?
I think there's like 6 or something now, because there was like the one reboot that was like DMC, which
Okay.
I had a discussion with another buddy, and he's like all over like, oh, I thought that was the cool one. I was like, oh my god, dude, that was like, man, they killed Dante for me.
Because it's a
5 was.
I was gonna say it's a PlayStation game, right?
It's on PC as well.
Oh, it is. Okay, that was one of the reasons why I'd never played it. I thought it was only on PC. But what were you gonna say about number 5?
Oh, nothing. Number 5 is cool. There was one that was like came before 4 and 5 that was like just called DMC, Devil May Cry. I was like not a huge like fan of it, I guess. Just I didn't even play it just because I couldn't relate to the character. It was like they killed my favorite character. So
fair enough.
Yeah,
I understand.
Try it.
Somebody's asking about healing. So on the screen up at the top left, you see these 2 little circles here. These are kind of like your health vials, for lack of a better term. And so you use these to heal. And so would one of these heal up the entire amount of health, or
No.
do these come in different sizes? They only heal one little.
So they start with X amount, and then you can upgrade it to X plus Y. And we have I don't want to commit to a number, because like right now internally we're using like 2 or 3. I can't remember, but like that's gonna be like play tested and modified, and you can get like an upgrade so it heals like 1 more or whatever it is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is this going to be on Xbox? Just like every other console, is CrowSworn going to be on Switch? We'd like to get on Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, but depends on stretch goals, porting, and stuff like that. Like, I want to say yes, but I don't want to like say something here and be like, why didn't you do it? It's like we're hoping for it. We're hoping for everything. Are there going to be puzzles? Yeah, so it's some kind, not like crazy puzzles, but yeah, puzzles. Gives me Bloodborne plus Hollow Knight vibes. Yeah, that's probably on brand.
Oh,
What are your holy grails of game design storytelling? Holy grails of game design storytelling. For different things, I guess, like for storytelling, I think Dark Souls, Bloodborne is like the holy grail for us. Game design, I think geometrically speaking, if that makes any sense, I would say Hollow Knight is like the holy grail of geometric layout of level design. I do think it has shortcomings with the use of art for Vista purposes, where you kind of like go in there and you have no idea where the hell you are, and you have no idea how to, like, without opening a map, figure out where you're going. So it has this thing where, like, especially the Green Path and stuff, when you go in there, you're like, oh man, I don't know where I am in Green Path. At least that was my experience. So
yeah.
I feel more like the capitalizing on what like Dark Souls does, where they get these like very specific either enemy configurations or asset configurations that like almost cement you in place as a Vista is yeah. So that's the thing. Is that one of the comments? Not to brag or anything, but I've never met or seen a person nonsense. Smarter than me IRL or even on the internet in terms of creativity and thoughts and stuff. That's cool.
Let's see. Where'd it go? Will there be unlockable characters you can play once you beat the game and finish for the first time, like Symphony of the Night?
Probably not, I would say. Yeah. Just because like in Symphony of the Night, when you get like Richter and stuff, it becomes like almost like a sandbox mode, because you can just like access anything and everything, and at that point it's not even about levels anymore, it's just about like messing around, I feel. And there just doesn't seem to be like a point to that, I would say, for us. Yeah, what can we expect the soundtrack to sound like? I think the soundtrack's like, we're kind of working away at it. We're trying to make it super unique, and it's like modern with some like blend of like orchestral, but at the same, like, we got like electric guitars and weird things in there. Like, we're really pushing for the composer to do some cool stuff. Like, you can expect what we basically heard in the trailer, stuff like that. If money was no object, what's the dream game? Probably this. Something like this anyways, I guess. For now. I mean, maybe later we'll want to do like 3D or something, I have no idea, but Skittle to Grandma can be to Pantheon of Hollow Nest. Depends on the components of the game, I guess. Nothing would be like a 1, but I'd probably say maybe like a 5, ranging to a 10 at some elements of it.
Will the lore be mainly present or hidden throughout the world? So we touched on that a little bit. It sounds like it's going to be kind of scattered about, and you'll kind of pick up items that'll give you kind of a clue of what had happened or what's going on in the world, right?
Yeah. Is there a currency like Geo? There is a currency, yeah. Is the blacksmith inspired in Silent Hill? The Pyramid Head. Kind of. We thought about the Pyramid Head. Is there voice acting? Who will be doing it? Voice acting, I think, is a stretch goal, and I think what we've narrowed down on potentially is like it'll be like English, but not like read line for line. So there will be like we're hoping to get voice acting, yeah. All right. Yeah.
Ooh, any inspirations from Lovecraft?
Well, it's kind of, that's, I guess, intrinsically we have to have had inspirations from Lovecraft because it's inspired by Bloodborne, which is inspired by Lovecraft. So yes, I guess.
There you go. I wish I knew more about Lovecraft. I really just haven't had time. Like I've listened to a couple of different videos and stuff here and there, but haven't gotten super into it.
Will there be a Zote type character? I mean, there's comic relief, but I'll say that I don't think we're gonna have anything like the kind of where there's a dude that keeps trying to fight stuff and like fail boats. Like, that's not really what we're gonna be doing. I don't think it really doesn't fit the vibe of the game, but there will be like comic relief in a different way.
Is Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal a playable character?
Is Sweet Tooth? Oh, Sweet Tooth's sick, man. I remember Sweet Tooth.
That's my younger brother too.
Oh yeah, dude. No, he isn't. But hey. I can relate. Sweet Tooth was my favorite as well. Without spoiling. No, I can't say anything about the lore without spoiling. Not really. I don't know how I would do that.
Ooh, achievement system. I imagine. So, do games have to come with achievement systems at this point? Like, I don't think there's any games that don't have achievement systems.
I feel like I should just donate any inspirations from anime. Trying to think. I feel like we do get them occasionally as they come through. So there are some animes that come around every now and then. I can't remember anyone off the top of my head. We definitely do have a lot of League of Legends inspired stuff, which isn't like anime, but that just crossed my mind, which is interesting because it was weird that like I think one of the comments we got, that like boss that we showed, the guy that spins and throws the spears. Somebody was like, "Oh my god, that's basically like I don't even know the boss, like the one of the nail masters, like Mateo or something from like Hollow Knight, just because he started spinning." And I had to like look it up. I'm like, "What are these guys talking about?" And then I was like, "Oh wow, I didn't even know this existed." But that boss was actually like inspired by Pantheon from League of Legends and Garen from League of Legends, because he's like the Spartan dude that does like infinite stabs, and then this guy that like spins in a circle. So it just turned out to be that way, I guess. But yeah. Animes though, some of the animations are inspired by animes. I would say that like I like some, I don't know if the frames come off with it, but there's like really exaggerated poses that are
Oh yeah, and also like
very
the
like anime
shadow,
stuff.
or like the double
Yeah,
version of them. Like the background was just like, I don't know. It reminds me almost like Dragon Ball Z esque. I don't know,
yeah,
something like that. Powering up. Ah!
yeah. No, for sure. Dragon Ball, I guess, is like always. Anytime there's like a power move, I guess like even that boss fight where he like before he jumps, like that was like, oh, Dragon Ball, like crouch, typical like constipated pose, and then fire off.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where is it? Like this right here. He's got the double shadow. That's
What other League
awesome.
of Legends inspired parts are there in the game? The bullets, I think I mentioned before, those are inspired by Jin, one of the League of Legends characters. So like the last bullet in the chamber, one of the power ups is that it deals like extra damage, and it's that like mega bullet that you see in there. That's like the power up has been unlocked for that. Like the last one that clips out is like huge.
That's awesome.
What do I think about people saying it's a clone game? I don't know. I don't think anything of it really. I guess it's yeah, I guess it's an opinion. I guess you could I could see where it comes from, but it's an opinion.
Ooh, will the main character talk?
I could say no. I might as well say no. He won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we spoke to Leth, I think I told him, I was like, I think the map's gonna be bigger than the Hollow Knight map, at least for one. I don't know how big Silksong is.
Yeah, Silksong seems like it might have to get pretty big just because of the way the Hornet characters will be moving. At least that's where we're guessing. We're guessing.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's not a clone.
I mean, I don't know what it means, like a clone. Like clones are clones, I guess. Like, yeah. Every game is a clone of another game. Yeah, probably in some regards. I mean, babies are clones of humans in some way, I guess, too. Anyways, another topic.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many things where you could like look at almost anything from any game and be like, oh, that kind of reminds me of this, or oh, that kind of reminds me of that. And I think that a lot of us who are here specifically are just huge Hollow Knight fans. We've been playing it for some of us for years and just like so into it and so focused, and we've just been all about it for so long that it's I like this entire interview. I'm sorry, I've compared a lot of things to Hollow Knight because that is like the largest frame of reference that I have in my mind, and also a lot of people who are watching. That's kind of like what we've been playing recently.
And dude, that's fine. I mean, we do it as well. I mean, like I can even openly say it. Like one of our like fundamental like decision making questions in when we develop the game is like we look at it and it's like if Hollow Knight has done it, we basically ask the question, can we change this in some way, shape, or form and achieve a net neutral result, or or a positive result. If the change yields like worse design, we just leave it as is. And unfortunately,
Interesting.
Hollow Knight did a lot of stuff right, like very right. So ultimately, yeah.
Fair
Remnant
enough.
from the Ashes. I haven't played Remnant. No, I know what it is. On this game has jumping Hollow Knight clone. Yeah, an inspiration from another. It's not a clone. It's an inspiration. That's really cool to see. Yeah. No, I think like yeah, we're definitely like inspired by like I could go for hours gushing over like how smart I think Team Cherry is and all that stuff, and like probably from like a way more critical standpoint than just like superficial. But that I swear that could be like another talk.
Ooh. Does the game world have a name?
Yes, but we'll leave it till the Kickstarter. It's addressed in there. There is a name.
Yes. Oh, Mossbag's about to pop up.
Mossbag.
Do you know who that
I
is?
like that guy. I know
Yeah,
Mossbag. Yeah, we spoke a bit through DMs and stuff. He seems like a cool dude.
I like him. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
I like all of the Hollow Knight content creators. There's none of them where I'm like, you know what? F that
Yeah.
guy. F that guy.
Yeah, all you guys seem nice. Yeah.
Is baseball a football clone? Ooh, you never know.
Is baseball, football? Could be.
Ask him. Why is everyone asking if there's thick waifus in this game?
Yeah.
Let's says that will end up being a stretch goal.
What? Well, the waifus?
Yeah, I'm kidding. He said maybe.
So.
He said maybe. He said maybe.
Yeah.
Will you need to buy more bullets?
Well, you need to buy more bullets. There's an we have like the systems like you can reload at any time, like all your bullets, but it does like lock you in place, so you kind of have to. It's not as egregious as like the Hollow Knight 1 charging thing where you like have to sit there for a long period of time. It's reasonably quick, but it does still lock you in place and you have to be grounded. Yeah. So yeah. How open-ended can you spawn on pressing, or is the main for no, it's definitely not linear. We have like design bits of levels that it is to some extent like it'll how would I do it? It's like you usually have two paths to choose from, but like the one path that's kind of like unless there's two that are correct or three that are correct, if there's only like one path that let's say you need to be going through, there's always another path that you kind of go around and like something will catch your eye and remind you to go there later, so it's not like linear in that route. But sometimes if there's like listen, you got to go here to get this power up before you progress anywhere else, it's a little bit more guided, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not linear, and it's definitely not linear 100%. And it's kind of like as you get more power ups, more of the world will like open up, similar to like the Hollow Knight fashion of at some point like multiple paths open up.
I love that so much. Like now, like I fault games that are like overly linear, especially like if it's a Metroidvania, it's got to be more than one path. Otherwise it's just I don't know why it just bothers me. Like that was something I didn't like very much about Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisp. It was like point A, point B, get from here to there, just like that's it. It's just like get through this path. It felt like it took away from the exploring to a certain extent.
Yeah.
When you can't stumble upon anything, or if you can't get lost, or you can't, I don't know. Yeah.
I keep missing these deleted comments. How many people are working on the game? Yeah, I mean, like, again, I said our sound team's like, I swear it's like half the people working on the game. Although I don't necessarily think you need that many. But yeah, we probably have like let's say we have like 10 people, I guess, and that's like 5 people. So yeah. Do we have like an estimated time this will come out? Yeah, 2+ years, I guess, for the release. Soul System from I've actually never played Dawn of Sorrow, to be honest. Played a bit of Order of Ecclesia and didn't. Bodhi's still here. I didn't like it that much, and then I played. No, Bodhi's probably still not here. He's offline on Discord, so yeah. And then I played Symphony of Night mostly. He made other games besides CrowSworn. I would love to check them out. Yeah, I made Unworthy, although that one's got like pitfalls, I guess, with it. Like it was, that was like a learning project that I made on my own, I guess, and it was pretty good. But yeah, Full complete story and is DLC planned? Yeah,
Ooh,
DLC we'd like to,
good
assuming the
question.
game does well, go through. Similar to like the way Team Cherry did it, just like free DLC and patch it on and do cool stuff. But again, it obviously depends on like the financial viability of that kind of enterprise.
Were you expecting to get all of the different what do you call it? Like fan art and different things that you've seen on like Twitter and stuff like that already?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not. I don't think anyone can plan or expect that. Like we were kind of blown away by it. The one thing that we found funny and took me a while to understand is like when we did it, for some reason, Koreans, I think South Koreans are like super protective of Hollow Knight, and it was like that was like a 1-to-1 ratio of like if a South Korean subtweeted the game, as far as I could tell, unless Google Translate's so poor or whatever,
Oh, okay.
they were like, for lack of a better term, crapping on us. But it took me a while to understand it too, because I think Hollow Knight in Korean is called like Hana or something. And I was like, for a while, I was like looking at this, I'm like, why do these guys keep talking about like Hannah Montana? I'm like, like what's happening? And then I'm like, what the hell, man? And I googled it, and it's like, oh, Hannah's like Hollow Knight in Korean, I think.
Got it. Okay.
So, um,
I never even thought to look at the comments from like other languages or anything like that. I just kind of looked on Reddit real quick and I looked on Twitter. I'm like, who's saying that this game is too much like Hollow Knight? I only saw I honestly I really didn't see that much. I didn't see a ton of people who were like offended or
yeah.
angry or whatever. So
Well, the funny part is, I don't even know if I should bring this up, but like I was just looking at their Google like analytics on the YouTube trailer stuff, and it was like a bunch of comments saying like, "Oh, you can report these," and I was like, "Really? Who said that bad stuff?" And turns out like the people that are defending us tend to like really lash out sometimes, and I'm just like, "Oh, like shnikes, I guess," which is I guess it's cool, but at the same time, like, oof, like it's like a war zone over there.
yeah. Ooh, let us say in less than 100 followers to get to 6,000 on the Kickstarter. So there is a link in the description below for anybody's asking when's this coming out, what's going on. The Kickstarter should start in roughly 2 months, give or take. And then so from there, it sounds like they're still working on what the Kickstarter backer rewards will be and what the Kickstarter goals will be. One of them, obviously, well, or maybe it's not. They want to release it on a bunch of different platforms. So Nintendo Switch and Xbox and PlayStation, whatever. Different. Those will be like different Kickstarter goals. So that's part of the stretch goals. Or I guess they're goals. I guess stretch goals. Anything beyond funding the campaign is a stretch goal. So those will be part of the stretch goals. But yeah, if you want a reminder to come check this out later, check the set a reminder to the Kickstarter. So you remember to take a look. And it sounds like once a Kickstarter launches, we're going to get some more information as far as what the world is called, and just kind of we'll get a little bit more. So I'm excited for that. Very cool.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna like probably do a similar kind of thing. Like when the trailer for that is ready, we'll just like end up tweeting it on Twitter and then going. It's basically the same thing like what happened now, except the page will link to the actual Kickstarter. But then whoever's following now, I think the way it works is you just get an email telling you like, hey, the project's live, so it'll like remind you.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is cool because they didn't have that back in the day. That's like a new feature, which is super nice.
Oh, really? Like it? Like people couldn't like pre.
Yeah, you couldn't like, which was, yeah, I guess it's almost like a wish list, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the way it acts now. Like,
Yeah, I think people would probably
but
they'd have to do it like on their own social media platforms or whatever. I guess, and huh?
yeah, I guess it's just like you kind of do what we did, except at that point you just like launch your Kickstarter and hope for the best, or like get, you know, press sites to cover it or whatever the thing was.
Crimson. Let's see. Will there be NPCs you need to do quests for to open up gates to areas?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
We have to do quests for NPCs to open up new areas.
Well, we have to do quests for NPCs to open up new areas.
Yeah.
Not like I don't say areas. When I say areas, does area mean like biome too, or does that mean just like, for example, like let's say Coliseum of Fools and Hollow Knight, is that an area or is that like a thing?
Ooh, good question. Let's say biome.
Like a biome? No, biomes would all be like Metroidvania gated unlockable, I guess. So you just have to get abilities, but like there will be things like Coliseum of Fools, for lack of a better comparison, that would be unlockable via NPC quest lines or something.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there companies / followers? I don't understand that question, but I believe that I've got everything linked in the description if you want to follow on Twitter. What's your main social platform? Like, if people wanted to follow development as closely as possible, what's the main way to follow you? Would that be on Twitter or what?
I think Twitter, basically like the Mongoose Rodeo Twitter is what it is now, sort of thing. I think this week we've kind of been, it's mostly me, but like been engaging more than usual, just because it was kind of like, we're sort of like riding the high and everyone was super excited how excited people got about it. But like at some point we'll probably be like backing off that just to like focus on development. So we'll try to like post regularly, I guess, kind of how we've been doing, like Screenshot Saturday sort of our thing for now. But at some point it's just gonna be like keeping fans up to date with like whatever's necessary, but hopefully them understanding that we're like in the dungeon working on it.
For sure, that makes sense. Yeah, I imagine at some point it just takes away from development if you're like, oh, I got to worry about what I'm gonna say and this, that, and the other. So
yeah, because this week like I haven't really done much of my typical work that I do with animation, just because I've kind of been like, we were super ecstatic with the fan art, and like we really mean that. Like everyone's just like kind of blown away that like people actually take time out of their day to like draw renditions of a character that doesn't even like really exist yet, and we're just like, what the hell, man? Sorry, what the heck, man? Like,
you're fine.
Yeah.
What's your priority in the game? Combat or platforming, or is it kind of both?
It's both. It's both, I'd say. We definitely want to like focus on the platforming sort of tight experience that was in like in Hollow Knight. Although we have, like I said, like the saw blade bouncy thing, we have different certain things in there that are kind of like different, but it's still very like fun traversing the level. But then there's also the combat being what it is, I guess, and it depends. Like, yeah, it's all like spaced out. Like for example, those fly guys with that like bouncy saw blade thing is like they're intentionally put there to like have you just feel good about like shredding through them. Like they're not intended to be like combat. It's just like, oh my god, this is sweet. And then there's like enemies that you actually have to like engage with through a combat standpoint and kind of like test your ability to dodge, roll, and like jump and understand patterns. And yeah, both. So yeah, both. Is there going to be a platforming focus section like Path of Pain and Hollow Knight? Yeah, something like that. There will be like those elements for sure. I don't know if necessarily Path of Pain, but there'll be elements. Will there be multiple difficulty modes? Not like as a selectable thing, but it's like after you beat it, there may be like a new game plus or Steel Soul mode or whatever you want to refer to it as, just like a more challenging setup.
Yeah, I kind of went back and forth on the whole Hollow Knight is too difficult, or the idea of accessibility. I don't know. I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I guess like originally I was just like, no, it's good because it's difficult. It gives you that sense of accomplishment. And then other people are saying, well, if it's not accessible, some people just physically can't do it, so they just lose out and it's not fun for them. It's just like, okay, I guess I could understand that. I'm coming from this place of 25 plus years experience of gaming, where I've been slamming my head against a wall since I was 5-6 years old, whatever. So I don't know. Accessibility is something that trying to wrap my head around about, like what is the right way, or like what's best, or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, I guess we thought about that too, and I just think it's like it's a tough cookie to crack, because certain things are like you only get value out of them if they are sort of difficult, like Dark Souls, for example. If you try to, or like Bloodborne, you can't like you know what you're signing up for when you buy that game, kind of thing, and enough people are into that, and it's like if you're to suddenly give it like an accessibility mode, it would totally defeat what Dark Souls is and what Bloodborne is, and a player like me would probably like lose interest in those franchises. So
yep, that makes sense. My father-in-law was a programmer, so growing up we had like a Mac in the house, like before like anybody really had computers in their house, and he programmed this one little game with like starships, little 2D thing, whatever. And he showed me how to use a program called Reese Edit, which is essentially like how you could edit the the stats of the game or whatever. I destroyed the game. I gave my little ship like infinite health and like infinite like ammo and this, that, and the other, and it's just like, oh, this is great. It was fun for like 10 minutes. And then after that, I didn't remember what the stats were originally, and I changed so many stats of so many different things. It was just I completely destroyed this game. It wasn't fun. But understandable.
I mean, there's stuff outside of that too, because there's a little bit of like, obviously as a creative, you're making stuff, and there's a little bit of vanity associated with creative work that naturally comes with it. So it's just like it's just like the equivalent of like if you go to a restaurant and a chef like prepares a meal for you a certain way, you kind of just, you know, they took pride in the way they prepared it. They wanted you to kind of experience it and taste it a certain way, and it's like, you know, it's like modifying the intent of the original content in some regard. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it and add it. It's just like it depends whether that was the intent of the developer or creator for you to experience it that way. And in the same way, like, you know, it's like if a chef prepares a steak and I'm vegan, I probably won't go eat a steak.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Makes sense.
It's maybe. I hope it makes sense, but
yeah.
It's something like that. It's definitely something we're tackling with. Like, I'm not saying we're opposed to accessibility, but just like I don't think it's an easy decision to make.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so Samantha, she brings up this point. So the people who want the sense of accomplishment can still have it. Difficulty modes or accessibility features don't take that away from you. So if you play it on normal or you play it on hard or whatever, that doesn't take away the accomplishment feeling. But
yeah, no, there's that. But I mean, then don't use it. Don't take it away from the other people who need to even touch the game. Even restaurants let you choose how you want your food. It's true. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't want to jump in and say anything about it.
Yeah, no worries,
there's that point of view too.
It's
but
just
it's
interesting.
definitely something we're thinking about.
Yeah.
I do think it's a bit of a controversial topic in some regards, but I respect where Samantha's coming from.
Let's see. Is this game about bugs too?
Is this game about bugs? It's about programming bugs, maybe, but
the final boss, just a giant bug, like missing number O from like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Will there be an emphasis on boss battles? It sounds like it's going to be kind of.
What instruments will
both.
the boss music tracks mainly use? I can't comment on that. I don't know. Like, composer JJ's like been using all sorts of weird stuff. Like, I don't even know what he uses anymore. It's like, it's definitely not as I would say orthodox as like the Hollow Knight soundtrack. I would say in terms of like the orchestral piece, it's a little bit weirder. Will there be any Hollow Knight Easter eggs? I don't know. That's like a Team Cherry question. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but from what I understand, they're relatively protective of their IP and stuff like that. So,
do you have to get permission to put an You don't have to get permission to put an Easter egg in a game, though, right?
It's not about permission. I don't even know, to be honest, but I also wouldn't want to like disrespect them in that regard. It's just like me personally not comfortable with it. Like if it's something that they would look at and be like, oh man, like that guy, you know, did us dirty. Like,
fair enough.
I just don't want to do it.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think what was it? I think Dead Cells. I think they did Easter eggs to a couple of different games in their thing, and I remember there's one to Hollow Knight, but I can't remember off the top of my head of what it was.
I think I talked to Mossbag about that, and I think it was like a portrait or something of like.
I think there's a bunch of bugs on the wall or something. Yeah.
And what has been made? Is this going to be as hard or harder than Hollow Knight? That's such a difficult thing to evaluate. I'd say it's we're aiming for a comparable level of difficulty. Like it's going to be a challenging game, but not like, beat your head into the wall kind of challenging. Let's just say it's roughly the same, but different.
Are there any mechanics or anything that like already you were like that feels good? Like anything that you really really enjoy so far?
In our game? Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully like all of it. I guess it all like that's kind of what we did with it. Like we spent a lot of time with it. I mean, the guns, like as an example, like people probably wouldn't expect it, but like the guns, like we had it coded in like a day, and then we probably spent 2 weeks tuning them to the point that they feel where they feel now, and then this was more than it should have been, but it was like an SFX issue because we were kind of like early stage with our new sound team.
Hmm.
We actually spent like a month like iterating on the gun sound effects. Like we were just like, no, that's not right. That's not
Yeah,
right.
you gotta.
That's
Yeah,
not
it's gotta
right.
get dialed in. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, until we got it dialed in. So like we're pretty proud of the way the guns feel. I think a lot of people noticed that too in the trailer and
Oh
stuff. Like a
yeah.
lot of people are like, oh man, those are sick, and that made me happy because it means that the efforts didn't go like unnoticed. Um, the like Corvian claw, as we call it, the one that grapples on the ground and like retracts enemies, I think is super cool. Just because it's kind of like almost like the Mortal Kombat, like Scorpion, get
Yeah,
over here
get
kind of thing.
over
Just
here.
cool. Yeah. And then the saw blade that's not in the trailer is like super fun and cool. Like that one, we're super. That's right now, I think, like the one I'm the most excited about presently, but it's also the most recent development.
Yeah. Awesome.
Will there be currency system? Yes. Okay, chat accessibility difficulty. It's not making the game work for people who are colorblind or have IRL issues of physically inhabit. Yep. No, absolutely. Is he at least 3 crows stacked on top of each other because the cloak? That's a good one. Maybe. Might be.
Yeah, earlier somebody said when he dies, just a bunch of crows burst out.
Oh, we have a death scene. It's not in this thing though. It just didn't fit the trailer. Like some people are losing their bananas over the death scene. I think if you like search CrowSworn, there's like a Metroidvania like channel that has like the one boss fight that I think they just like took the video off our Twitter. And then I was like, it was kind of weird because I was like, I don't know how I feel about that death scene. And then we posted it somewhere, and people were like losing their minds over it. And I was like, all right, I guess we gotta keep that one. So
let's see if I can't find it.
Is this your first game to develop, or how many games have you developed before? I've only developed Unworthy to completion before. That's my only other game. But I have developed a lot of like abandoned prototypes, which is like I don't know how many, but I have a graveyard of unfinished games on my computer.
You got like a Google graveyard thing going?
No, I don't have Google. It's just in a folder.
No, have you ever heard of the Google graveyard?
No, it's the Google graveyard.
Google has started so many different projects that end up getting abandoned. It's kind of ridiculous. So killed by Google graveyard. So if I pull this up, it's like apps, Hangouts are going away in June of 21. Expeditions going like if I'll just scroll through. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Like all of these different things that have been started, whatever Hello was, browser sync. Zeitgeist, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hate the death animation. I just thought it was to go over the top. Oh, that's funny. Wow, I didn't even know about this. Killed by Google. That's cool. Wow. Jeez. How long is the game? The game we're intending to make it the same like length as Hollow Knight kind of thing. Like that's the rough intent of it. What is happening here? Apparently Leth says he dropped the gameplay link in your chat. Gameplay YouTube link in your chat.
Oh.
That's what Leth said. I don't know what that means.
Oh, probably in Discord?
Maybe.
No? Maybe.
I mean, I could also provide the link in theory, I guess, but are you aiming for a length? How long are you expecting the game to be? Yeah, I think that's the same question. Yeah. As long as, like Hollow Knight, probably like 40 hours, 50 hours kind of thing with the full completion thing, I guess, and 13 for the main. Is the Kickstarter trailer going to be longer? The Kickstarter trailer will be slightly longer, and not to like ego it or something, but hopefully a lot more epic.
All right. I think
it's really frame attacks, iframe attacks, and absolutely frame attacks. There's iframes on the dodge roll, if that's what you mean. To what extent will the game punish you for dying, losing? Will you lose a portion of all your money? We haven't calibrated that yet, to be honest. We don't know entirely. Like there will be some kind of punishment, obviously, but not like excessive. And it also depends how intricate the currency ends up being to like progression. So like how the geo was super tied to some levels of progression. We don't want to like make you lose a currency that's that important to that. But yeah, what is your favorite Nintendo franchise? Probably, I don't want to sound like a whatever, just like a vanilla guy or whatever, but probably like Super Mario, I guess, and then closely after that Zelda. I'm an exceptionally huge fan of Super Mario RPG.
Yes, one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah, like RPGs is like, yeah, I thought it was super cool. There's some stuff that even in this game is inspired by Super Mario RPG. Animation canceling. Some things animation cancel, not all things. Will the game have any horror elements? Kind of, not like Silent Hill horror, but like, you know, like there'll be things that should be a little bit unsettling, I guess.
Oh yeah, the crow. There it is.
Yeah, people are like losing their bananas over that one. I was like, I guess. I never played Breath of the Wild. Actually never got to play. Like, it's just like it's hard to find. Like ever since you got into the game, I think it's hard to find time to commit to that kind of thing. So yeah, would be cool if you die, you get to wear the hat of shame for a couple of minutes. Yeah,
like a dunce hat
or something. Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be fun if there's like a meme version of the game for like, and then that's where that kind of stuff gets added in. So the second playthrough adds in dunce hat and I don't know, whatever else.
Yeah. Will there be a public demo? Probably no public demo, just because we don't want to like get too many people like in on it. It's just like it's hard with Metroidvanias because they're so like lore and one-off driven. It kind of makes sense for like roguelikes and stuff where it's a lot like balancing and messing around and things. But Metroidvanias are kind of like run it once and, you know, like enjoy it kind of thing, I guess, for most people. So how many people are working on this game? Yeah, again, like I'd say, you know, 3 like primary development things, and then we have like +7 for audio, which is again like the thing. So we got like 3 presently for what you need to make like a game without audio.
Raj. All right, we ready to wrap it up?
I'm cool to wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're getting a lot of the same questions, and I'm sure Lady Relyea would like it if I didn't stay up too late. I got to be up early tomorrow too.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it's a work day.
Day job.
To do.
Oh yeah, I just got a new client, so I got a very early meeting to catch up with. So so just one last time, links in the description for the Kickstarter. I can bring that on screen right here. So check that out. I think Left was saying we're getting super close to 6,000. So what's up? Yep, getting there. So you can come over to the Kickstarter page, save that, and you'll get a notification once this thing does go live. The Kickstarter should go live in about 2 months, give or take, and then we'll get some more information. So so pretty much all the questions that are being asked right now, you're gonna have to watch the video. You have to check it again. We went through a ton of questions. So is there anything else you want to say before we take off, Aleks?
Nothing specifically. I guess just you know, thank the community for being as supportive as you guys have been. We definitely appreciate that. If anybody in here did any of the fan art, we can't tell you how ecstatic we are about that kind of stuff. Still like completely blows our socks off, and we're like super humbled by it. And yeah, thanking you for the interview as well. I keep having the thing where it's like Relyea. Is that how you just pronounce it?
Yeah,
Relyea. Relyea.
Yep. Easy.
Relyea.
Yeah, it's not easy, but yeah.
Invitation for the interview, and that's it, man. I don't know what else to say.
All right. Thank you, buddy. All right. Thank you, everybody. Good night. I'm gonna be taking off. Normally we do a raid, but I do have to take off tonight, unfortunately. So I will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll talk to you again more later. I don't know. That's a terrible